Alright everyone, please return to your seats. Our time is limited, and we still have many more cities to go through. Now, before we broke for snacks, I told you of 3 cities you may choose to go to in the realm of Ghyran. And although a city in that life-rich realm may be an ideal choice for some of you, I must say that for others, Aqshy might present even more interesting opportunities. Yes, I know. When you think Aqshy, you might think lava-strewn hellscape. And, admittedly, some portions of that realm exhibit that description. But there are other areas with much more interesting geography and much more enticing prospects.
Anvilgard. You call it dishonorable. I call it winning.
For those of you who see Aqshy as only lava mesas and plains of blasted rock, then may I tell you of the city of Anvilgard, a heavily fortified seaport bordering the sweltering jungles of the Charwind coast. A jungle that is rather aggressive. You see, the jungle is constantly being covered in lava flows and ash plumes from nearby volcanoes, and where other jungles might have simply died off in such heat and debris, the jungles of the Charwind coast has somehow gained the ability to use the energies and minerals of those volcanic eruptions to regrow rather quickly, birthing new jungles and creatures in places that perhaps only weeks or even days before was an ash-covered wasteland. As such, Anvilgard is under constant threat of the jungle plant life trying to overtake it, and only the use of defoliants constantly being spewed outside the city prevents that from happening. The substances, which I am assured is harmless to mortals, has one interesting side effect. It creates a grey haze that constantly envelops the city, giving it a rather sinister air. The culture of the city is strange. To the outside observer, they are very traditional and strict, holding sacred ancient traditions learned from the anvils of the Heldenhammer, a storm host said to contain reforged souls from the world that was. But underneath it, elven outcasts have dominion. Fleet masters of the Scourge, sorceresses of the Darkling Covens, and beast masters of the Order Serpentis have formed together to create the Black Scale Coil, a criminal organization in control of all illicit dealing in the city. And they are said to control the members of the Grand Conclave of that city through blackmail, manipulation, and the odd bit of assassination. So skilled are they that it is said that even the watchful eyes of the Lord Veritans can't detect them. At least, that's what some think. I personally believe the Lord Veritans are more than aware, but don't care as long as trade continues unabated along the coast. And say what you will about the citizens of Anvilgard, their coast is surprisingly safe. Aggressive corsairs constantly prowl the waters, looking for anyone foolish enough to pirate there. And the examples of those that they do catch is a constant reminder that the forces of our enemies aren't the only ones who are skilled at giving pain. When called to war, they are known to use horrible abominations crafted from the creatures of the jungle, as well as using any dirty trick they can think of to undermine the enemy. And when a fellow soldier is faltering in any way, commanders are more than willing to make examples of the weak to ensure that everyone plays their part to the fullest. If this city sounds appealing to you, feel free to go there. And perhaps, and I say this in the politest way possible, stay away from me.
Tempests Eye.
You should not feel disheartened. There is no shame in letting wiser minds lead you. If you desire a city with a bit more elevation, the city of Tempests Eye atop Titan Spear Mountain may be the right choice for you. A mountaintop stronghold and bustling multi-level trade port. It is crisscrossed with winch lifts and cable carriages loading and unloading various trade objects from the Caradron Overlord trade ships and Iron Guild gyrocutters docked in its hangars, making it one of the most popular trade ports in all of the realms. Additionally, it is so high up that it naturally gathers an aura of celestial magic, making it the ideal place to place planar observatories and arcane devices. Not only is it wonderful for research, but also security, as seers and battle scryers maintain constant vigil for any threat to the city, allowing its inhabitants to be constantly alert and forewarned. And on the very tip-top of this mountain, its high towers and majestic stonework touching the edge of the sky, is Castle Regal, the storm keep of the Tempest Lords. Now the Tempest Lords are those storm hosts who were once noble lords and ladies who ruled justly and bravely as mortals before being reforged as stormcasts. As such, they have much more, experience and comfort with governance than most storm hosts. They personally believe it is their duty to guide those less wise than themselves in all matters. As such, both the current Lord Castellant and the current Lord Celestant have permanent places in the Grand Conclave, and no resolution can go through without their express approval. The mountain itself is solitary. Surrounding it are wide open ash steppes stretching beyond the horizon. On those steppes you will find war camps of Free Guild soldiers as well as cavalry such as outriders and pistoliers. They are constantly on the move, guided by celestial seers to swiftly ride across the steppes to any enemies wishing to approach the city. A common tactic is for the riders to harass the foe until, at the optimum moment, a Tempest Lord vanguard wing of airborne warriors slam down in the middle of the enemy, followed closely by Caradron Overlord bombers from nearby skyports, as the Duradin would hate to see such a profitable city that they have many standing contracts with fall.
Hallowheart.
The magic in our blood is a sign of Sigmar's favor, and we will use it to burn you to ash. Once, in a certain region of Aqshy, there was a crater-like pit known as the Shimmering Abyss, and in the center of that large pit was a towering Valsite mesa that was once used as a nest by a weird flame drake, a beautiful serpentine dragon of living flame that was sadly corrupted by the chaos god Tzeentch, the rich flames becoming ever-changing fires of damnation. The site was deemed worthy of liberation, however, and Sigmar, in his wisdom, ordered the beast removed. Using the combined forces of the Hallowed Knights and the Fire Slayers of the Vostarge Lodge, the great drake, once so noble and majestic, was mercifully put down, perhaps to be reborn in a purer form in the future. On top of the beast's former home was eventually built the city of Hallowheart, a city that begins at the top of that mesa and digs deep into the ground beneath, its winding stairways around the central column leading to bustling mining camps built into the walls of the surrounding caverns. Camps tasked with carving out the rare and highly sought-after minerals within its walls. One mineral of note in those depths is primordial ember stone, a powerful but volatile substance that is said to burn with a frightful sentience. If you believe the words of drunken and superstitious miners anyway. To carve out this dangerous substance requires skilled miners and rather delicate technology from the Ironweld arsenal, but the risks are well worth it as the substance has amazing properties. For example, the Whitefire Court, the great hall of the collegiate arcane in the city, is constructed entirely of this material, and it morphs and twists daily depending on the mood of those inside. While the depths of the city is dedicated to mining and metallurgy, the city's highest point is dedicated to worship. For when the Hallowed Knights took over the area, they did not build their Storm Keep, the Shining Citadel, at the top of the mesa, as other storm hosts might have done. No, they instead built the Celestine Chapel, a place of worship that is said to hold thousands in honor of Sigmar. Besides the valuable minerals mined regularly, another notable aspect of the city is that, for some unknown reason, it seethes with magical energy, which, for a former home of a beast dedicated to Tzeentch, can be a bit worrying. But worry not. Both the devoted of Sigmar and the Hallowed Knights are always on the lookout for any threats from that most vile of deities. Any stories of mine workers going missing, or secretive missions by teams of Stormcasts led by Lord Veritans is purely rumor. Despite the danger this extreme magic might present, it also gives quite the benefit, for those born in the city gain a natural resistance to magic, and those who are gifted with magical abilities are much more skilled at arcane channeling than most, making their soldiers prized across the mortal realms, and their mages of the Whitefire Court almost as sought after as those of Azerheim. If you're feeling particularly adventurous, you may want to strike out of the city into the parching wastes, for in those lands you may find artifacts of the Agloroxy Empire, a magocracy that dominated the area before the Age of Chaos. It is said they produced powerful arcane weapons of unimaginable power. One of note was the Prismaticon, a device that could somehow produce a rain of fire across a massive area many leagues away. If you were able to discover this device, you would gain a prize that the God King would reward you handsomely for. And, of course, aid the forces of righteousness, which I'm sure is your real goal. Perhaps we should take another break. I see some of you are once again eyeing those snacks, and who am I to deny hunger pains? We shall recommence in 20 minutes, and I will give you a visual tour of the greatest free city of them all, Hammer Hall. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the second video on the cities of Sigmar. If you like it, please like, subscribe, comment, press the little bell whenever so you know whenever I post. And if you like it, please consider giving to my Patreon or my Ko-fi account. The extra money gives me the time I need to work on these stories that I love. Anyway, thanks for listening/watching, and see you next time for Hammer Hall.